I welcome you to my channel. Subscribe and listen to my new stories every day. For years, the glossy mahogany door to Olivia's office had been more of a monument than an entryway, imposing, unyielding, and strictly off-limits. Every time I even lingered near it, she would sweep in with a flurry of urgency, her voice tight and her eyes dark with warning. "You know the rules, Jonathan. My office is private," Olivia would say, her tone chilling enough to freeze the warmest of moments. Yet, despite the forbidding air and the potential consequences, the door beckoned me with its mysterious allure. Each silent whisper of curiosity twisted tighter around my heart, fueled by the growing chasm between Olivia and me. She was my wife, yet there lay oceans between us that no bridge could span. And always, her office stood as the sentinel guarding her deepest secrets. One spring evening, as the last light bled from the sky and Olivia was away at another of her endless work engagements, my resolve crumbled. The house was silent, save for the soft ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall, a metronome to my mounting resolve. I stood before the door, my hand trembling as it hovered over the knob. A cocktail of dread and anticipation surged through my veins as I turned it, the click of the latch both a gunshot and a symphony. Inside, the room was not the chaotic den of work I had imagined. It was obsessively organized, sterile almost, but for the walls. Oh, the walls! My breath caught in my throat as my eyes traced over what lay before me. Every inch was covered with photographs of Olivia's older brother, Michael, who had vanished years ago, presumed dead after a mysterious hiking accident. Each frame chronicled Michael's life, from a toothy, grinning toddler to a strapping young man with the same golden hair as Olivia. My heart thrummed painfully against my ribcage. It was an altar, a shrine, not to fond memories but to an obsessive idolization that bordered on mania. Why? I murmured to the empty room, my voice a ghost in the shrine she had built. Why him? Hours must have passed as I stood there, piecing together the fractured reality of my marriage. Olivia had married me, yes, but her heart, her soul, was tethered to a ghost. I was nothing more than a placeholder, a shadow standing in the brilliant light of her adoration for Michael. When I finally heard the front door open and close, my spine stiffened. The click of Olivia's heels approached, a staccato beat heralding the storm to come. "Jonathan? Are you here?" Her voice, usually so controlled, quivered slightly. I stepped out, blocking the doorway, the photos of Michael glaring down at us like silent judges. Olivia's face paled, her eyes wide with shock, then darkening with fury. "How dare you," she hissed, her body taut as a drawn bow. "You've been lying to me," I shot back, my voice low and steady despite the tempest of emotions raging inside me. "All these years, your heart belongs to him, doesn't it? To someone you can't even. Don't you say his name." Olivia cut in, her voice breaking as her facade crumbled. Tears brimmed in her eyes, but they sparked no sympathy in me. Only a bitter, burning anger. "That's it, isn't it? I was never your partner, just a stand-in for him." My accusation hung between us, heavy and irrevocable. Olivia's face contorted with a mix of grief and rage. "You will never understand. I loved him, yes, but I loved you too, in my way." "In your way?" The words tasted like ash in my mouth. "That's not enough. Not anymore." The chasm between us had finally broken open, a gaping maw that would swallow what little remained of our farce of a marriage. As Olivia sobbed, pleading with me to understand, something cold and hard settled in my chest. Revenge, a dark whisper promised, would be my solace. "I will make you feel this pain," I vowed silently as I watched her, the queen of her macabre kingdom of memories, crumble before me. Turning my back on her tears, I stepped out of the room, out of her life, and planned the downfall of Olivia's world, one she had so meticulously curated around a ghost. Our divorce would be but the first act of my retribution. In the weeks that followed, the once warm spaces of our shared home felt more like a battleground, every encounter with Olivia a skirmish in a war of cold glances and sharper words. The divorce proceedings began, a torturous process of dividing a life that had never truly been whole. Yet, even as I sat across from her in the stark, unfeeling office of our divorce attorney, a plan began to crystallize in the darkest corners of my mind. Olivia's art gallery, her pride and joy, became the focus of my retribution. If her heart was a fortress, her gallery was the drawbridge. I knew that damaging her professional reputation could strike a blow as deep as the wound she'd left in my heart. One rain-soaked Tuesday, as the city cloaked itself in a dreary gray, I make my move. I reach out to an old college friend, Marcus, who now works in public relations. "Jonathan, this is a bit out of the blue," Marcus begins cautiously as we sit down in a dimly lit coffee shop. "What's this about?" I lean forward, my voice a low murmur. "I need your help to expose someone, professionally. It's delicate." Marcus arches an eyebrow, his interest piqued. "Go on." "I have evidence," I lie smoothly, "that Olivia has been using her gallery to launder money. I can provide documents, transaction records. But I need them to leak anonymously." His hesitation is visible, but the intrigue is undeniable. "That's heavy, Jonathan. If it's true, it could destroy her." "It's necessary," I insist, my resolve ironclad. "The fiction I fabricate is elaborate, believable." Marcus nods slowly, agreeing to orchestrate the leak. The rumor spreads like wildfire. Within days, whispers of financial malfeasance swirl around Olivia's gallery. Art buyers begin to withdraw, and local media outlets pick up the story. Olivia's reputation teeters on the brink of ruin. But I don't stop there. The next phase of my plan involves her personal life. Using a pseudonym, I send anonymous letters to her closest friends and patrons, suggesting Olivia's unstable mental state and obsessive behaviors regarding her deceased brother. The letters are a mixture of truth and lies, enough to sow doubt and concern. As the storm of scandal builds, I watch from the shadows, a bitter satisfaction blooming darkly within me. Olivia, once so poised and untouchable, becomes increasingly isolated, her usual composure slipping as she grapples with the onslaught of accusations. One evening, I encounter her at a mutual friend's art showing, her eyes hollow, her spirit clearly shaken. She approaches me, a ghost of her former self. "Jonathan, please," Olivia pleads, her voice barely above a whisper amidst the hum of the gallery. "I don't know why you're doing this, but you have to stop. There's been a misunderstanding." I meet her gaze, my own eyes cold and unforgiving. "You took everything from me, Olivia. Your deception, your lies. I was nothing to you but a shadow of him." "I never meant to hurt you," she insists, desperation threading her words. "You did, Olivia. And now, you're feeling just a fraction of what you've put me through," I reply, the words slicing through the tense air between us. Turning away, I leave her standing amidst the murmurs of the crowd, her figure forlorn and diminished. As I walk away, I feel the weight of my actions, heavy and complex. Revenge, I realize, is a double-edged sword, its satisfaction as fleeting as it is bitter. Yet, as I step into the cool night air, I know that my plans are far from complete. The real climax of my vengeance awaits, a final act that will ensure Olivia never forgets the price of her betrayal. The escalation of my campaign against Olivia had left a trail of chaos in its wake. As the rumors turned into serious inquiries, and her professional network crumbled, I prepared for the final act of my vendetta. This part of the plan was more personal, more direct, and it required a face-to-face confrontation. I wait for her one evening in the parking lot outside her now nearly deserted gallery. The evening air is cool and carries a hint of rain. She emerges later than usual, her shoulders slumped, a shadow of the vibrant woman she once was. As she nears her car, I step out from the shadows. "Olivia," I call out. She startles, her hand clutching her purse tighter as she turns. Her eyes widen in recognition, then narrow in suspicion. "Jonathan? What are you doing here? Haven't you done enough?" I shake my head, stepping closer. "We need to talk, Olivia. It's time to end this." "There's nothing left to say," she says, her voice breaking slightly. "You've destroyed everything. I hope you're satisfied." "Not yet," I reply. My tone is calm but firm as I hand her an envelope. "I want you to read this." Out loud. Olivia hesitates, then tears open the envelope with shaky hands. Her eyes flick across the page, and as she reads, her face drains of color. "You knew Michael was alive?" Her voice is a whisper, disbelieving. I nod. "I found him, Olivia. He's been living in Europe for the past decade. He changed his identity, wanted to escape everything, including his past life here." "But why would you do this? Why tell me now?" she stammers, the paper trembling in her grip. "Because I wanted you to know what it feels like to lose everything and then find a reason to hope again," I say. The words hang heavy between us. Olivia looks up, her eyes searching mine. "Is this supposed to make us even? You think this absolves you of all the cruelty?" "No," I admit, taking a deep breath. "It doesn't. But it's all I can do now. Revenge, it seemed like the only path forward. But it's a hollow victory, Olivia." She nods slowly, absorbing the weight of my words. "What do I do now?" "Go to him, Olivia. Find out if there's anything left to salvage from your past," I suggest, my voice softer now. "It's more than what we had in the end." Olivia folds the paper, holding it against her heart. "And what about you, Jonathan? What will you do?" "I'll start over, somehow. Maybe learn from all this pain," I say, feeling the first true release of my burden. She nods, taking a tentative step back toward her car. "Thank you, Jonathan, for telling me. I need time to process this." "I understand," I say as she gets into her car and drives away. I watch the taillights disappear into the night, feeling a mix of relief and regret. As I walk back to my own car, the crisp night air feels different, almost cleansing. My revenge had played out to its bitter end, but it had also opened a door to forgiveness, mostly for myself. The road to redemption is long and uncertain, but for the first time in many months, I feel ready to take the first steps. The weeks that follow are a descent into a world I scarcely recognize, my own. With Olivia gone to confront a past I had maliciously unearthed, I am left to wrestle with the fallout of my actions. But as the silence grows, so does a sinister resolve. The endgame approaches, not just for Olivia, but for all those who had sided with her, betraying my trust. Late one October evening, I sit in my darkened living room, the only light emanating from the glow of my laptop. The screen displays surveillance footage of Olivia reuniting with Michael in a quaint cafe in Prague. The sight fuels a final, vengeful plan. I begin by contacting a hacker, a shadowy figure from the fringes of my previous life, and arrange a meeting in an abandoned warehouse. The chill of the night bites as I step inside the cavernous space, the echo of my footsteps a grim drumbeat. "You're sure you want to go through with this?" the hacker asks, his voice echoing slightly. "Absolutely," I reply without hesitation. "Access their financial accounts, drain them. Leave them nothing but the ashes of their former lives." He nods, his fingers flying over the keyboard. Screens flicker as he breaches security protocols with terrifying ease. Within hours, Olivia and Michael's assets vanish into the ether of the digital world. But financial ruin isn't enough. It's personal, deeply so. I forge ahead with the next phase, total social annihilation. Using deepfakes and manipulated evidence, I craft and release videos and communications that paint Olivia and Michael as traitors to their closest allies and patrons. The digital world erupts with outrage. As their reputations crumble, I make my way to a final meeting with Olivia. We convene on a rain-slicked rooftop in the city, the skyline a jagged silhouette against the stormy night sky. You. Olivia's voice cracks through the howling wind as she confronts me, her eyes wild with betrayal and fear. What have you done? Only what you deserved, I answer coldly, my voice steady despite the chaos I've unleashed. You chose him over me, lied to me, made me a fool. And this is your justice? Ruining our lives completely? Her voice trembles with anger and despair. It's retribution, I correct her sharply. You took everything from me. I merely returned the favor. Olivia steps back, her form silhouetted against the city lights. You think this ends here? You think you've won? There's nothing left to win, I declare. This was never about winning. It was about justice, about ensuring you felt this pain as deeply as I did. She shakes her head, tears mingling with the rain. There's something you don't know, she whispers, almost lost in the wind. What? I demand, stepping closer. Michael and I, we were never just siblings. We were more. It's why he left, why we kept it secret. And why I could never truly love you. Her revelation strikes like a physical blow, the final twist of the knife. Not just siblings, but lovers, a taboo that had hidden in plain sight, masked by the guise of familial love. You're monsters, I spit out, the word tasting like venom on my tongue. We're victims of our truth, Olivia counters, her voice broken by sobs. And now, victims of your revenge. I leave her there, alone and shattered, as the rain washes over us both. Walking away, I realize the emptiness of my victory. There is no solace in revenge, no peace in retribution. As the city swallows my shadow, I depart from Olivia and Michael's lives forever, the echoes of our mutual destruction resonating in the depths of my soul, a grim reminder of the cost of true vengeance.